Okay, so now we are going to actually learn a different endgame technique that is going to help us again to be able to execute a passed pawn. And this is known as a square rule. Now a square rule can make a lot of difference to how the game can end. For example, this very position, if it was black to play, then this would be a draw. But now because it's white to play, white will be able to win. How is that? This is actually we make an imaginary square in our mind and we will see if the opponent's king lies in this square, then we will not be able to promote our pawn. But if the opponent's king does not lie in this square, then we will be able to promote our pawn. Basically, the king will not be able to catch up to the pawn. Now that doesn't mean that if the king is in the pawn square, that means that we won't be able to promote. No, that is not true. We will be able to bring our king and we might be able to promote. But if the opponent's king is not in the square at all, then there is no need to even bring the king. So over here, how do we draw the square? We basically take the pawn and we draw a line that is ending in the opponent's last rank. So this is the opponent's last rank. And this is how our square will look like. Once again, I will show you. If your pawn is over here, we will draw a line towards the opponent's last rank. So it's a diagonal line. And where that line is, the square, it would actually be from there. That is how the square will end. So over here, it ends at D8. So G5 to D8 is the line that we drew. And then from D8 to G8, and then G8 to G5 and G5 to D5. That is going to be our square. And now if we see, does the king lie in this square? No. So will the king be able to catch up to the pawn? No. So once we play G6, we actually made the square smaller. So this is now like this. So there is no way that the black king will be able to catch up. Even if the king tries, it's not possible because now G7 and the square is even smaller. And then if the king plays to E7, G8, Queen, and now this game is winning for white. But now I told you before that if it would be black to play, then black would have a chance of drawing this game. How? So now if black plays king to D7, it's actually in the square now. G6, king to E7, once again in the square. G7, king to F7, and now there is no way that you can promote the pawn, and so this becomes a draw. And this is how the square rule can be put into application. This is how, without actually calculating towards the end, you can see if your pawn will be able to promote or not. Once again, I will show you how to make the square. You take the pawn, you draw a diagonal towards the last rank in your opponent's side, and then from there you actually imagine that there is a square, and all those squares inside the square that you made will fall under the square rule. And that is how you will be able to see if you can actually be able to promote that pawn or not.